Hello, horror fans, and happy Easter! Let's celebrate this holiday with a classic Easter horror movie like. Oh. Yeah, can't really think of any. I guess there aren't really any notable Easter horror movies. At least, not really. It's kind of weird, isn't it? Because as we've talked about before, holiday horror is everywhere. Christmas, tons of horror movies. Halloween, that's an obvious one. Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Thanksgiving, even the 4th of July. There's at least one notable or iconic horror flick for each of them. But Easter? Sure, you can dig up a few obscure indie or low-budget titles on platforms like Tubi, but honestly, the closest we probably have to a definitive mainstream Easter horror movie is Critters 2. Surely there's gotta be more, right? But the more I thought about it, I realized that it's not just horror. There really aren't that many major Easter movies of any genre. The only one that immediately came to mind was Hop, that movie where Russell Brand voices an Easter bunny who wants to be a rock star. Oh, and he poops jelly beans.
What are you doing?
See?
Jelly beans?
I suppose you could call Mallrats an Easter movie, but that's more Easter adjacent. And sure, there are faith-based films depicting the resurrection story, which I suppose count as Easter movies, but outside of that, Easter is weirdly underrepresented across the board. TV, on the other hand, loves Easter. Tons of Easter specials to be found there, from the Rankin Bass Peter Cottontail special, to Teen Titans Go, to Rick and Morty, to South Park and its interesting Dan Brown-inspired bunny-related lore. And of course there's the classic Charlie Brown special.
Sir, how do we color the eggs after we fry them?
But even then, not a whole lot of direct Easter horror TV options, except for maybe the Rick and Morty episode I mentioned, which combines Easter with sci-fi body horror. So yeah, what gives? One possible answer is the religious angle, because Easter is very explicitly tied to Christianity. And yeah, so is Christmas, but Christmas has become heavily commercialized and widely celebrated in a more secular way. Easter, while it does have its secular elements, still feels more directly tied to its religious roots. Plus, Easter isn't just another Christian holiday, it's the one commemorating the event most central to the whole faith. So maybe that makes it feel a little off limits? Like horror filmmakers are hesitant to touch it because it feels too sacred? I suppose that might be part of it, but I'm a little skeptical. Horror rarely shies away from taboo topics and what are considered sacred spaces. And with Christmas horror basically a genre unto itself, there's definitely a precedent. And that's exactly why Easter horror should work. Again, horror is a perfect genre for exploring and deconstructing the status quo and those said sacred spaces. And thematically, there's tons about the holiday that feels right at home within the horror space. Easter is all about resurrection, life after death, conquering sin, redemption. These are core horror themes. Whether you're religious or not, the idea of someone rising from the dead after a brutal execution, that's powerful, that's intense. That's kind of horrifying, depending on how you frame it. And even if you don't go the religious route, how do we not have a definitive killer Easter Bunny movie?
Look, that is E-Bunny.
F.
Because, let's be real for a second, there's something unsettling about a giant humanoid rabbit sneaking into your yard at night, leaving things behind, and media has definitely noticed this. Teen Titans Go features the Easter Bunny as a creepy, semi-recurring character, plus that Rick and Morty episode I mentioned earlier. And then there's films like Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, where Ted's personal version of literal hell involves being tormented by a scary Easter bunny. So clearly the potential is there. Maybe it's too silly for a straight horror movie, but a horror comedy? That feels like a perfect fit. And visually, Easter might actually be one of the most interesting holidays to twist into horror. Bright pastel colors, cute animals, candy, colorful eggs, springtime imagery, all of that can be flipped into something uncanny and disturbing. Just like Christmas horror turns warmth into dread, Easter horror could turn innocence into something more unsettling. Look at films like Midsommar or The Wicker Man. Neither are Easter films, yes, but they both used bright and vibrant colored environments and managed to make them unsettling and creepy. And of course, the Easter egg, an iconic part of the holiday, could factor into a plot. Thematically, eggs represent birth, rebirth, resurrection, and do have a decent precedent in horror. The only horror movie I can think of that deliberately used Easter eggs in horror is, as mentioned before, Critters 2. And as I've mentioned, there are some indie and under-the-radar Easter horror films out there, so it's not completely untouched, and if you have any recommendations, please tell us in the comments. But when it comes to major mainstream horror, Easter is basically a blank slate, and that's kind of shocking, because there is a lot of untapped potential there. In the meantime, I guess I'll be watching the Charlie Brown Easter special again.
They look done, sir. Want to look at them? Okay, Marcy, let me look. That's funny. It smells like soup. Oh! Marcy, you've made egg soup! Ah!
Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to give us a like, leave us a comment, and subscribe to our channel for more horror content. Hope you all have a great Easter, and we'll see you next time.